Hi, I'm Tim and this is Timberway Designs. In this series of videos, I take 10 common rocks that anybody can find, cut them in half, and we look what's inside. I got 10 rocks that were donated from a buddy of mine, Bruce, out in South Dakota. Got a pretty cool, some prairie agates and some other stuff from out there. So we're going to cut these in half and look inside of them, and then on the next episode, episode 35, you'll be able to see cabochons that I make out of each one of these rocks here. And at the end of this video, you'll see the cabochons I made out of episode 34 from the UK rocks, and let me know what you think of those. So let's take a closer look at these rocks here. So here are the rocks for today's selection. I get kind of jealous of them out there, Bruce, out there, because they get nicer weather in the wintertime than we get here, and they can go out and look for rocks when it's like in the 60s, and we're sitting here over here in the negative 20s. So I guess that's a benefit of living out there. So he picked me a nice little selection of rocks here, and let's take a closer look at them. So we got this one here. Now most of the rocks, they call them prairie agates, and they're generally made out of jasper, chert, and quartz. So this one had a lot of interesting patterns and coloring. The only problem is it's also got a lot of fractures and chips out of it. So get it wet here. So I thought I saw some fortifications in here right on the end right there. So I don't know how I'm going to cut this yet, but I'm thinking about it. And we got this stripy rock here. Now this is not chert or chalcedony. It could be quartz though. I thought it had some, I like this yellow stripe running through there. That looked kind of cool. A little nodule here. Got some white stuff going on in there. And a lot of these can kind of surprise you when you cut them open. So I got this one here. Looks like a lemon wedge or orange wedge of orange or something. It's got some fortifications and stuff. Kind of clear. So it kind of looks like you can kind of see some lines in there on the edge here. At this one here, get something going on in there. Got a nice druzy pocket right there. Got some pitting and some cracks in it. Like I said, usually we can work around them. It's got a cool looking pattern though. I'm really curious what's inside this thing. We got this one here. Look at the pattern on that. A little on the thin side though. I think we can get one good cab out of it. So I got this one here. I'm not really sure what this is. It looks like it's got kind of lighter color. It could be petrified wood, but I'm absolutely not positive on this. Or it could just be a big chunk of chalcedony. But it looks like it's got some light colors going on in there. We'll find out. This big one here. I think it had right there. It's got some fortifications right there. But there ain't no telling what's lurking on the inside of this thing. That's what it looks like on the wet. Another one here. Looks like it's kind of got some layers going through there. Looks like it's got little fortifications right there. Yeah. Like I said, another rock. You have absolutely no idea what's going on inside until you cut it open. And more fortification right there. Yeah, that'll be interesting. And then we got this one here. Looks like a typical prairie agate that you find out there. It has some pretty neat patterns going on in there. Okay, so I'm going to take these 10 rocks right here, take them down to saw, and we're going to cut them and see what's inside. So I'll meet you down on the saw. All right, we're down here on my high-tech 10-inch trim saw. And I want to show you before we get started. This is a continuous rim center diamond blade here. I'm rubbing my thumb on it right now, and it don't cut the glove. This thing is absolutely not sharp like a knife. It's just like a giant 10-inch grinding wheel, and it just grinds the stone in half, basically, with diamonds. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sharpen it or dress it with this thing here. What it does is I run this 3 times through here, and it exposes new diamonds. So it keeps the blade cutting well. So let's start cutting. Alright, first one is this one here. And I think I'm going to split it right down the middle. Alright, number 1 rock, episode 35. Let's see what we got. Wow. That one's got some going on in there. Okay. Now we're going to take all these rocks upstairs and we're going to look at them a little closer when we get up. Alright, this one here, I'm just going to cut the end off to see what we got going in here. Well, that one took a while. Let's take a look inside. Ooh. I don't know. It might be petrified wood. I like the pattern. Okay. This one here. I'm gonna cut this side off. I'm gonna make a slab like there. Alright, what do we got hiding in this one? Ooh, oh, there you go. Look at that. Fortification. Okay. Both sides. Alright. Okay. This one here. I was kind of thinking. I'm going to split it because I want to see what's in here. Ooh, that's another long cut there. See what we got. Okay. Well, it is interesting. Alright. This little guy here, I think I'm going to split it right down the middle. Interesting pattern. Look at that. I think almost like dark brown on the outside, and it's got that on the inside. Okay. Alright, I'm going to touch up my blade a little bit because these things are really hard. Alright, got this one here. Kind of want this. So we're going to go for the long cut here. Little breakage there, but let's see what we got. Wow. That's that druzy pocket. Okay. Interesting. I got the stripy guy here. I got a feeling this is going to look just like it is on the outside. Let's see what we got. Okay. That'll make an interesting cap. Got this lemon wedge looking thing here. Orange wedge. I want to cut it so I can get one good cab out of it. So I'm going to try to cut it. Let's see. So I can get this side here. See how we did here. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. Alright, this one. I'm thinking I'm going to try to shave this. I want this flat side here, so I'm going to try to cut it like that. Alright, colored pattern. Let's see how we did. Ooh. That's cool. Alright, finally this one here. I want this side. Well, either side. I'm going to have to do a split down the middle here. Which one is better? That one? That one. Definitely this one here. So I'm going to try to cut it so I can cab on this side. Alright, I could have went a little thicker, but I just wanted to be safe over here. Ooh, look at that. Okay. A lot to work with there. Alright. So I got them rocks cut, and I got two more I'm going to cut, but I'm not going to make cabs on them, but I really want to see what's inside of them. So I got this one here, and this one here. And these are called septarian nodules. If I spelled that right, I'll put the name right down here in the screen. I'm really curious what's inside these things. There's that one. There's that one. So, cut this one first. Oh, cut pretty easy. Let's see what's inside. Alright. This one here, I'm just going to run the blade right through the middle of it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be exactly what we saw in the other one. Okay, just curious, just wanted to see what was inside of them. So I'm going to gather these up, and we're going to take them upstairs and take a closer look at them. All right, we are back upstairs. I'm going to skip I'm back upstairs showing me. I think you folks see me enough already in the front and the back of this video. So let's see what we got. These rocks were really hard, except for this one right here. It took a while to saw through a couple of these. Look at this one first. All right, I'm still not sure what this is. Thought maybe petrified wood. But yeah, look at the pattern in there. Could be petrified wood. But if it is, it's agatized to the nth degree. That's really pretty though. Pattern and color, and this has definitely got pattern in it. So, liking that. And all these are going to make awesome cabochons because they're so hard. All right, I had this one here. I wanted to kind of split it in two, but it was a little thin up on top here. And I want to make sure I get this as the cabochon. So there's the cut right there. It definitely, you know, I got enough there to get a cab. It looks a little crumbly up on top, but I think we'll be okay. This is pretty thin. There ain't nothing I can do with that. But the pattern pretty much went through, kind of like I thought it would. But I definitely left myself enough there to make a nice cab. So that's we go like that. This little one here really surprised me. And you're looking at that laying on the ground, you think it's going to be white and brown on the inside. Oh no. Got a little orange and got some bluish gray here on the edges. Isn't that crazy? And this one, like I said, they were all hard. So that'll make an interesting cab. And this one had some fortifications on the outside. You can kind of see them a little bit. Let me get it lined up here. Is that it? I don't know. No. There we go. So I had one there. Couple on top, one there. You cut it open, and look at that. I'm hoping I can cab this side here, and that'll be more apparent than it is there. But I don't know if it gets any bigger or not. It's got some good, got the fortifications, and it's got some good pattern in it. I'm not seeing it over here. Okay. That one. You said this one looked like a orange slice. You can see some lines down here. And this is another one. I was trying to preserve this side the best I could. I think I did a pretty good job. Look at the lines in there. Isn't that pretty? That is going to make an awesome looking cabochon. I had this one. I don't know if this is sedimentary or what it is. But it had this cool yellow stripe running through there. Look at that. I'm going to have a few cracks in there, but I think I can work around that. Get a neat looking cabochon. This yellow stripe will definitely be in there. Another prairie agate looking rock right here. Little pattern going on the outside. Little eyeball thingies there. A little bitoroidal pocket. Here's the inside. And that looks like a pocket, but it's absolutely really smooth. So, got like 100,000 little eyeballs in there. Yeah, these things are really deceptive. You know, a lot of times they don't even remotely look like the inside. There's some fortifications right there, as a matter of fact. On the inside, they do the outside. We cut this one here, and it kind of fell apart. Now, I kind of wondering if it would, and it did. So I'm hoping I got a big enough piece. This one right here is the piece I wanted. Look at the pattern in there. And that's just what you're seeing at the cut. Nice big fracture right there. But I think we can work in this side here. So there's another chunk of it. There's another chunk of it. I mean, this probably warrants another cut. You know, split that in half, see what's in there. But you'd never know that this is in there looking on the outside. I mean, you can kind of see a little red and stuff in there, but look at that. That's absolutely smooth. There's that one piece there. Wow. Okay. And this big one here. Had a fortification there. And some stuff going on there. And I don't know, just kind of all over. Look at that. And that is absolutely smooth right there. It looks like there's some pockets and stuff in here. Nope. Absolutely smooth. So there's some quartz, clear quartz right along here. Let me get it focused right along there. Might not be hard, you might not be able to see it in the camera, but I can see it inside this rock right there. Yeah. Another camouflage job Mother Nature did, except for this. I don't know if this will come through or not. I'll probably be cutting this again to get a slab out of it. We had this one here. I think my cut went just a little awry. I had a big druzy pocket right there. And there is the druzy pocket going through. And there is the cut right there. Actually, it'd be like this. So this is right there. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I don't want a cab on this side unless I can cut this druzy pocket out. There's another pocket right there. I was more interested in this pattern here, so we'll probably work on this side. And it seems pretty solid. So we'll find out. Okay, so I had these extra rocks. What I call them septarian nodules. Here's the first one. We see these all the time, but we never pick them up. So he must have picked a couple up for me. I mean, it looks kind of bizarre, but there ain't nothing going on inside this one. And I'm not going to make cabs out of these. I just cut these in half just for curiosity reasons. There's this other one right here. All right, that's the inside of that one. So now you know. I looked them up on the internet, and sometimes they can have crystals and stuff inside of them. So I don't know. These don't, and now we know what's inside these. Well, I'd like to thank Bruce for picking out some interesting rocks for me and sending them my way. And we'll get these all cabbed up, and you will see these in episode 36. So we're going to move these out of the way, bring the cabochons in from episode 34, and take a look at them. Right, these are the rocks that Elena sent me from the UK. The top row is from England, and the bottom row is from Scotland. So I'm not separating them. Just the only reason is to see what different areas of the country look like. Right, so first up, I had this green one here. You know, if I found it here, I'd say chloride or epidote, which I don't know what it is. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with the rocks. It had a really nice color and really cool patterns on it. You can see there. Oh, here's the cab. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Nice pattern in there. Color, really good shine. There's the back. There's the front. Awesome little cabochon. There's the original rock, and there's cabin made out of it. We had this chalcedony rock here. You can see it's got conchoidal fracture right there. So it was pretty hard. A nice subtle little pattern in there. Nothing, you know, sticking out, but oh man, did it make a pretty cabochon. Look at that. Super shine. Those little patterns in there kind of add to it. There's the back. There's the front. Look at that. There's the original rock, and there is the cabochon I made out of it. had this thing here. I was kind of leaning towards like a quartzite or something because of the texture. It had some color, some red and some greenish pattern going in there. And actually it was kind of mossy. This red mineral here is kind of floating in this other mineral. So here's the cabochon I made out of that one. Nice shine. Pattern. Here's the back. Here's the front. Here's the original rock, and there is the cabochon I made out of it. And that's this little conglomerate here. And when I cut it in half, I showed you it was soaking up the water. Well, it made a good looking cabochon, but it wasn't very shiny. And it was super soft. Here's the cab. So I managed to get just a little bit of shine on it, but not a lot. There's the back. There's the front. This thing was disappearing so fast, even on the finer wheels, it was just eating it up. But I mean, I thought the pattern was really, really cool. We'll get this wet here real quick. Look at that. But it suffered because it was so soft. So there's the original rock, and there's the cabochon I made out of it. This is another quartzite looking rock, but I really liked the pattern. It was just too bad it was just full of fractures. It had fractures everywhere. But I thought the pattern was really nice. So here is the cabochon I made. Another super shiny, nice cab. Few little pits, but nothing, nobody's gonna walk up to you and say, hey, there's pits in your cabochon. Here's the back. Here's the front. And there is the original rock, and there's the cabochon I made out of. I thought that was pretty impressive. All right, this one, I'm not sure what this was. I'm kind of leaning towards like a jasper or something. Whatever these red spots are, they're really soft. I could tell that when I was making the cab. But the rest of it was pretty good for cabin. So there is the cabochon I made. Another good shine. Even the red spots, whatever they were, they shined up really nicely. Here's the back. Here's the front. There's the original rock, and there's the cabochon I made out of it. Right, this is probably my favorite one because of that. Kind of agate looking rock here. But it wasn't really super hard like an agate. But it was hard enough where I'd made a good cab out of it. So there is the rock. Here is the cabochon. Looks super shine on it. Nice pattern. Busy pattern. Here's the back. Here's the front. So I've got fortifications in there. Got some other stuff going on here. Had a fracture in there, but I think it was in both sides. Yeah, you can see it right there. Made an awesome looking cabochon. Look at that. So there's the original, and there's cabochon I made out of it. This one here, I was kind of leaning towards quartzite on this too. It had the right texture and everything for it. Not a super hard rock, but had a little bit of pattern in there. Had a few fractures and stuff. So here is the cabochon I made out of it. Incorporated a little bit of the pattern. That's just a fleck that was in the rock. Popped up. Here's the back. There's the front. Nice shine. Probably not, knock your socks off patterns, but it's still pretty cab. Here's original rock. Here's cabochon I made. We had the big orange one here. Remind you what it looked like. And that like almost hurt your eyes orange. Had this orange, probably feldspar I'm thinking, and quartz. Had a lot of fractures in it though when I started making the cab. So I was trying to keep it fracture free, so I ended up making a smaller, super shine on this thing. Really, I mean, this is a nice looking cab, I thought. Here's the back. You can see some of the fractures right there. More there. Here's the front. I don't think it's going to affect anything. I think it's still a very nice looking cabochon here. So there's the original rock, and there's cabochon I made out of it. And we had this piece of gneiss. That's what I'm calling it. Kind of had a few colors in there, kind of a subtle pattern, and it made a pretty cabochon. I'm finding, I used to never pick up gneiss here, but I pick it up more often now if it's got enough colors and pattern into it, because it really shines generally well. It makes a pretty cab. Here's the back. Here's the front. Yeah. Kind of a little more granular than the stuff we pick up here though, but still pretty. So there's the original rock, and there's the cabochon I made out of it. So I'd like to thank Elena. This has been fun. Cut some cool rocks in half and got some nice cabochons out of them. Even, this one here, we didn't get the shine I wanted, but it still looked interesting. So these cabochons, I'm going to let her pick out 3, and then the rest of them will end up on Etsy eventually. So this is episode 34. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing the insides of those rocks that Bruce sent me from South Dakota. Very interesting rocks, very hard rocks. They're going to make awesome, shiny cabochons. Just got to cut them right and do a lot of grinding. And then I hope you enjoyed seeing the cabochons from the rocks that Elena sent from the UK. Not bad. Not bad at all. So let's see. I'd like to thank the subscribers out there. Really appreciate you signing up for it. Like I said, the numbers keep going up, and it makes me feel good that you like the content enough to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. There's a button down below. It's absolutely free. And then when you subscribe, slide on over and give me a thumbs up, because that gets the analytics out there so more people can find this content. You can hyperlink it on your mobile device. You can share it on other platforms, and you can push the little bell button and you'll get notifications when these videos come out. This video here comes out every Wednesday morning, and then I do another series where I take a rough rock or a slab and I make a single cabochon, and I take you through the whole process of making that cabochon. And that comes out on Saturday morning. So if you're interested in that, slide on over on Saturday. Catch me there. I'm going to put a video up here. It's number 5. That's when I first started showing the cabochons from video 4 or episode 4. And then YouTube will put something over here. I don't know, hopefully one of mine. No, usually it's one of mine. And yeah, so I think that's, and this septarian nodules. I don't know. I had to see what was inside those things. I've always been kind of curious. So I think that's all. I think we're all good here. So thanks for coming along. That's all I got, and I'll catch you later.